Aye. Safe travels. Off with you. Great to meet you.
It is too far away.
Hello. Till next week.
I'm out of range. I don't have a target. I can't pass that net.
Thank you.
Wow.
I need to get closer.
Wow.
I need to get closer. That spell isn't ready yet.
Wow.
I need to target. Recharging. I can pass that section. I can pass that.
great day now. Off and away. Hi, how are you? Be seeing you.
Interesting.
Right.
I need to get closer. That spell isn't ready yet.
Wow.
I can't carry anymore. I'm out of range. I don't have a target. That spell isn't ready yet. I can't cast that yet.
Wow.
That's still recharging. That
Wow.
spell isn't ready yet. I don't have a target. I need a target. Inventory is full. Inventory is full. I can't carry anymore. It's too far away. to get closer. I can't carry anymore. It's too far away. Now it's charging. That space isn't ready. Inventory is full. I need to get closer. Inventory is full.
Wow.
I can't pass it. I need more mana.
My, you're a tall one. Alrighty then.
For real.
Keep it real.
Loktar. May your blades never dull.
I got the best deals anywhere. Have a good one. Hey, how you doing? Be good.
It's too far away.
How are ya? See you soon.
I can't reach that.
Greetings. Be careful.
Wow. I can't cast that yet. I'm out of range. The spell isn't ready yet. I can't. My mana is low. I need to use it. Inventory is full. I'm out. It's too far away.
Ah, potential customer!
What do you need? Go forth to victory.
Ah, potential customer.
Speak, friend. Be safe.
Pleased to meet you. You have a great day now.
Wow.
Can I help you? Off and away. Need assistance? Be seeing you. My, you're a tall one. Hey. Hey! You have a great day.
I got what you need. Keep it real.
Oh, do I have a deal for you? Glad I could help.
Yo! Have a good one.
I'm out of range.
you there.
Very good.
Great to meet you. See you soon. Keep your feet on the ground. Safe travels.
Great to meet you. Safe travels.
Tired of jerking off alone? Jerk Roulette connects horny men and women so they can strip naked and masturbate together.
What's on your mind?
Hola, mi nombre es Jorge Espinosa y me complace compartir con ustedes la experiencia de uno de nuestros clientes mineros en la industria de litio. Abordaremos sus desafíos y proporcionaremos una solución simplificada pero poderosa para sus necesidades. En las piscinas de evaporación en la producción de litio, el determinar la tasa de evaporación es crucial porque permite optimizar la gestión de recursos y la eficiencia operativa. Las mediciones manuales y la toma de decisiones subóptimas dificultan los plazos de producción y la optimización de recursos en la cadena productiva. Nuestra solución combina los beneficios de la medición de nivel por radar con el Rosemont 54 sobre 8 con el transmisor de temperatura 648, ambos con comunicación inalámbrica. Se transmite los datos a través del protocolo de comunicación Wireless HART que permite a los clientes disponer la información en tiempo real sobre la tasa de evaporación en cada una de las piscinas y de esta manera optimizar el tiempo de producción. Con su implementación, nuestros clientes han logrado mejorar el rendimiento productivo al determinar el momento exacto para realizar el trasvase hacia la siguiente etapa en el momento adecuado, optimizar los costos de producción, así como el ciclo productivo. La disponibilidad de los datos también ha permitido eliminar rutinas de verificación manual y se reducen los costos de implementación en el proyecto al limitar a un mínimo los requerimientos de obra mecánica y eléctrica debido a la tecnología Wireless HART.
So, you've chosen the path of the warrior to undergo the hardcore challenge on arguably its most difficult setting and see if you have what it takes. It's no secret that despite warriors having a legacy of being god tier at everything at endgame during vanilla, the leveling journey turns that experience entirely on its head. With a general lack of get out of jail free cards and CC, suboptimal gearing choices and a rage bar which is just never full, warrior life from 1 to 60 ain't easy. In this video we'll be breaking down the warrior in hardcore classic WoW, going over their strengths and weaknesses and hopefully helping you keep your health bar above 1 all the way from your starting zone to the end game.
But first, a quick word from today's sponsor, Incogni. Incogni work on your behalf to ensure that your personal details online remain just that, personal. And with 68% more data breaches in 2021 compared to the previous year, it's not improving anytime soon. But Incogni does have a solution. The problem is data brokers aggregating your personal information and selling it on to unknown businesses for their own benefit. Now the good news is you do have the right to request that the brokers delete this data. The bad news is they're going to make this as long-winded as possible because your details are their paycheck. This is where Incogni comes in. It's as simple as signing up, informing them whose data they will be removing, granting the right to work on your behalf, and simply waiting for the results. They will know where to look and how to handle the inevitable objections. You can even try Incogni risk-free for 30 days too, so there's really nothing to lose. Keep your online anonymity the way it should be with Incogni. You can go to incogni.com/WillE or click the link below to get an exclusive 60% off an annual Incogni plan. Many thanks to Incogni for the sponsor today. Let's get back to WoW.
So let's start where we usually do. Is this class new player friendly? It kind of goes without saying, no, Warrior is not new player friendly at all. Most deaths for players in hardcore WoW tend to occur around level 14, you know. That's when you come out of your starter zones and go into the early game leveling hubs, such as Westfall, Darkshire, the Barrens, and so on. A big reason why, and something to remember, is that starter zone mobs are very nice to you. They're sometimes neutral, meaning they don't attack on sight, and they run slow enough for you to get away without having to do anything special. But once you're past these zones, you don't get that special treatment anymore, which is why, especially on the Warrior, if things are not looking so good, you need to get out of there sooner rather than later. Another thing I want to mention, which may or may not be of use depending where we're at with servers, but on the classic era servers at the moment, there are currently guilds raiding. You know what guilds raiding means? That means world buffs are going to be dropping. If you get an Oni buff on a level 1 warrior, it is completely broken and gives you 2 hours of absolute god mode when you've just made your character. I guess it's a bit of a grey area, but there's nothing stopping you from doing it if you want to, and it's not as if there's world buffs going out every hour now like there was during classic anyway. Either way, if warrior is your first pick in hardcore, you're definitely going in at the deep end, and you really need to learn the value of taking things slow, keeping your health bar high between pulls, and not underestimating just how fast things can go wrong. So how does the warrior perform solo then? Again, not terribly well. This class is very reliant on other people supporting it, as well as gearing up heavily. Two things which you don't have much access to during the leveling phase of the game. Warrior's ability to take on higher level mobs, multiple mobs, or elites is sketchy at best. If going into a tough pull, you'll always want to pull rage before doing so. This is just going to hit something else beforehand to ensure that your rage bar is full. So when you charge in, you can instantly, for example, thunderclap, sweeping strikes, and heroic strike in the first global. This will give you a good head start on what would otherwise have taken you a few seconds to achieve. Also, if using a slow two-handed weapon, don't underestimate hamstring kiting if you need to. This is just running between a mob back and forth between each melee hit to ensure that you're trading 1 for 1. Certain mobs hit really fast, so this can be beneficial to do so. And of course, if you're gonna do something crazy, have one of your 30-minute cooldowns ready to go. Those being retaliation, recklessness, and shield wall. I think for leveling and just for hardcore in general, to be honest, the most useful one by quite some margin is retaliation. It gives you 30 charges of instantly counter-attacking an enemy when they hit you. This is really powerful against multiple mobs, or just evening the ground against a tough elite. Oh, and the final thing not to take for granted is how many debuffs the warrior can apply. Between Demo Shout, Thunderclap, and Sunder Armor, you can really even up the playing field if you apply all these. But if you do find yourself grouping up for dungeons or what have you, the tables really do completely turn. Warriors go from often struggling to being one of the best classes in the game. With an unlimited resource in Rage, and double dipping on Rage's generation from damage taken and dealt, they start to show why they end up being so overpowered at endgame. One thing I will say is that you should expect to be tanking more often than not in group content. Now, as Paladin and Shaman can do great in dungeons, there's a total of 2 classes in the game which actually have a taunt button, and you're playing one of them. On top of that, no one really plays a full-on tank spec while leveling in vanilla, because being outside of a group, they do absolutely 0 damage. And as we'll talk about soon, warriors can tank very effectively just by playing a pretty standard arm spec. So do be prepared to tank, level up a one-hand weapon of choice so it will actually hit, and keep a shield in your bag too. Which brings us to survivability, which is an interesting topic for the warrior. So your choice of getting out of a bad situation early game is you press hamstring and then you run away, and that's kind of it. As just mentioned, you should definitely aim to carry a one-hander and a shield as much as you possibly can. Having the ability to block whilst running away is a passive bit of defense which you should not overlook. On top of that, at level 10 you'll get a quest to unlock defensive stance, and if you're running away and you already have hamstring active, do consider using this, as you'll also take 10% less damage passively whilst it's active. I'm also going to have to give a good mention to strafing and leashing rules here for the warrior. It's a thing which is good to know in general, but especially so for this class. So in short, mobs in this game will have a set timer for how long they will chase you, depending on various factors such as their level and distance they've run from their spawn point. If you're engaging a mob in any way, so demo shout, hamstring, auto attack, what have you, it will constantly be resetting this invisible leash timer and will keep chasing you in many events for way further than you think it should. We've all had that moment where you can't believe how far something has run after you. This is why that happens. So when running, you must stop hitting whatever is chasing you back, get a hamstring on them, and pray for good RNG with blocks and so on. When running, it's also very important that you are strafing or strafe jumping. The aim of this is to be running away from a mob whilst continually facing it. You can only be dazed when hit from behind, and when mobs are facing you, you can still block, parry, dodge, and all that good stuff. So if you get into a habit of learning strafing and strafe jumping early, it's useful for every class in the game. And on the warrior is a bit of mitigation and defense in your toolkit, which you really can't overlook. Once you hit level 30 and get berserker stance, you can use intercept as a getaway tool on practically anything in the direction you are going in, especially on critters if you can see them. And intimidating shout works a bit strangely too. It will cause your target to be feared where they stand for 8 seconds and 5 other nearby targets to run in fear. If you hit that main target that's standing in place, it will always instantly break the fear effect. However, running targets will take some damage before the fear breaks. Though your ultimate live through nearly anything ability is Shield Wall. This hefty 30-minute cooldown requires both defensive stance and a shield equipped, and it reduces all damage taken by 75% for 10 seconds. Also on the warrior in particular, I'd make a point to keep your first aid at the highest level it can be. Though being classic, first aid is a bit non-linear to level. To go above 150, you'll need to go buy a tome from a vendor. For Alliance, they're in Strongguard Keep in the Arathi Highlands, and in Dustswallow Marsh for the Horde here. Note that for a low level, both of these zones are very dangerous, so do it at your own risk, but you'll have to go.
Teenagers are building businesses with AI, while the only AI you know is ChatGPT. Let's be real. Most people over 40 use ChatGPT like it's Google. Copy, paste, ask a basic question, move on. That's not how smart people use AI. Tomorrow, we're starting the 28-day AI challenge for beginners over 40. Just 15 minutes a day to level up. In 1 week, you'll feel unstoppable. In 2 weeks, you'll have your strategy. In a month, you'll wonder why you didn't start sooner. Tap the screen to join us.
Want to start a business? Start with an address. Choose from a range of domain names and fresh new domain extensions to help make your business stand out from the crowd. Give your online business the best start with the right address from GoDaddy. Start for free at godaddy.com.
There eventually. They will also sell tomes for Heavy Silk Bandage and Mage Weave Bandages. Buy both of these, they're pretty cheap. To train above 225 at level 35 or higher, again, you've got to go to a specific trainer. They're in either Theramore for the Alliance or the Arathi Highlands for the Horde. This trainer will also be where you learn the final few tiers of bandages. Heavy Mage Weave at 240, Rune Cloth at 260, and Heavy Rune Cloth at 290. It's a good idea to store excess cloth in the bank until you've leveled up your first aid, just so you aren't wasting potential levels by making bandages. Either way, warriors do have ways to get out of sticky situations, they just aren't as powerful or simple as what some other classes have access to. As for the speed of leveling, well, warrior isn't going to be breaking any records, put it like that. Slow and steady is the name of the game, taking your time, healing up between pulls, and respecting how much damage your enemies can put out all add up to a class that will see a longer than average time to ding 60. On to talents now. So if there's one thing to say about warrior in hardcore, it's whilst meta talent builds can work well, sometimes you get good RNG and the game gives you an amazing weapon, and when this happens, I think you just play into the weapon that you get. We will talk weapon progression in a moment, but having something good to swing at enemies is the most important thing on the warrior by far. I would say Fury is the less common leveling build for the warrior, though is an avenue that I would consider if I got a good quality rare weapon early on. It does have issues though, which is why it's a less played, such as you don't get Berserker stance until level 30, Whirlwind is at level 36, and Bloodthirst is at 40. This means a ton of your time will be spent in battle stance prior to that, and the big bonus from being in battle stance is overpower, but since Fury ideally wants to use one-handers, you aren't going to be getting the most out of it, as Fury weapons tend to hit more often, but deal less damage compared to two-handers. Also, dual wielding incurs a way higher hit chance penalty compared to using a two-hander, meaning rage issues are going to be even more noticeable than they already will be. There's kind of this thing where you go two-hand fury until you get higher levels and good one-handers, but at this point you might as well just be playing arms. All the same, if you are lucky and get a rare one-hander early, I'd go with something along the lines of this. Notably, Fury gets Piercing Howl as well as Death Wish for a nice extra bit of utility and a proper DPS cooldown. Not many classes get one of them. Flurry is one of the big talents that will add a solid bit to your DPS, and Bloodthirst is another instant attack to press. It does scale off your attack power though, which whilst leveling is not going to be all that high, but it's better than just auto attacking. But I would personally go for an arms build during the leveling phase of the game. It also starts out very slowly, just like Fury does, but that's kind of warrior for you. They don't get many damage dealing abilities for quite some time, and your early game is going to be a lot of Thunderclap, Thundering, and hoping that Overpower procs. This build is able to go into improved Overpower, giving it a very strong chance to crit, as well as Impale and Deep Wounds to make those crits count a little bit more. Later in the tree we get Sweeping Strikes, allowing you to consistently deal with multiple targets, and at the bottom of the tree is Mortal Strike, a hard-hitting instant attack that reduces healing taken by 50% for 10 seconds. As for which weapon specialization to go into, again, I would consider playing the weapon that you get. I prefer axes over swords personally. The extra crit does start to get very noticeable, and more crit means more rage, which means more of everything else. Mace is okay, though its random stun does diminish with itself, and Polearm is just in a bad place in the talent tree where you have to waste points somewhere to get it. In the Fury tree, get Cruelty, Piercing Howl, and Enrage. The other talents are kind of up to what you prefer. I would though avoid Improved Cleave. It's a bit of a bait talent since it increases the bonus damage on Cleave, not the total damage. In practice, this means it does about 60 more damage at max rank. This arm spec is also great for tanking dungeons, right from the first few in the game to getting towards some of the late game. The main thing it has going for it is that you can charge in, Thunderclap, Sweeping Strikes, Zerker Stance, Zerker Rage, Whirlwind, and then Defensive Stance and put your sword and shield on. This gives you a really good threat lead on pretty much any pack in the game. This does depend on the pack of mobs, your gear, your healer of course. If things feel a bit risky or shaky, take it slower. On to abilities then, what to level and what to avoid. Fortunately for the warrior, pretty much everything they can train is useful to some degree. As per usual, green abilities are the ones I will level whenever I get the chance to, yellow are optional or I would not level them up fully as the gold cost isn't worth it, and red is avoid. Of course, warrior learns defensive and berserker stances through quests, which are available at levels 10 and 30 respectively, and they should be something you get done when you get the chance to. Before level 30 or so in general, abilities are just kind of cheap and are worth getting almost whatever they do, and warrior picks up a ton of utility from various shouts, buffs and debuffs. Warrior also has quite a few abilities which gain absolutely tiny benefits from leveling up. Intercept rank 3 does 40 more damage than rank 1 and has the same length stun. Shield Bash rank 1 does 6 damage, rank 3 does 45 damage, they both interrupt for the same amount of time. Cleave, Mocking Blow and Pummel are all the same story. I also have Mortal Strike on the talent order here. Of course this is not a baseline ability, but you level your talents whenever you get the chance to do so, and they're always cheaper than normal abilities too. The single ability I can realistically say there's not any point leveling is Slam. Your somewhat limited rage pool is better spent on pretty much anything else. Next, on to weapons. As a warrior, you need a good one, so here's what to look out for. Early game for the Alliance, the Dead Mines offers multiple chances at a good two-hander, such as the Taskmaster's Axe or Smite's Hammer. Alternatively, the quest to defeat Edwin Van Cleef gives a very good staff as well. The Horde's counterpart early game dungeon, the Wailing Caverns, also gives a very good weapon called the Crescent Staff. If you haven't been able to run dungeons or just haven't had much luck with early game drops, there are two noteworthy weapons from vendors in the game, the Merciless Axe and Executioner's Sword. Both of these are pretty expensive early game, but could carry you through many levels. These are sold by either blacksmiths or random traveling traders throughout the world, so if you see a unique looking vendor, give their stock a check and see what they have. The big mid-game weapon to aim for has to be from the warrior class quest, awarding one of 3 weapons. The most commonly picked is the Whirlwind Axe, due to it having the slowest attack speed, and it's scaling best with your instant attacks such as Whirlwind or Mortal Strike. This is not an easy quest to solo, and most people will take it on towards level 40. If if and when you are thinking about going for this, do check a guide as it's a multiple part quest, which I won't have time to fully cover in this video. Alternatively, as a Alliance only, Horde, there is a quest line starting with Brother Anton in Stormwind, which eventually leads to In the Name of the Light, which awards Bonebiter. This axe could realistically last you until level 60, it's that good. Unless you want to run dungeons, there is a pretty good chance that you're going to be rocking a green weapon for the majority of your leveling journey. It might be a little bit riskier, but often it's well worth the trouble. On to macros and add-ons now. Add-ons first. So I don't have much warrior specific, to be honest. I use weapon swing timer so I can see when my damage is going to be going out. Doom cooldown pulse is another add-on that shows abilities in the center of your screen briefly when they come off of cooldown, which can be good for seeing when abilities come off of cooldown in your other stances. And a threat meter is good too for dungeons, especially when you're tanking. Onto a few macros then. One big thing to know here is that if you have abilities on your main bar, they're gonna automatically swap when you change stance, so you don't need to create a macro with stance conditionals. I find there are enough abilities for each stance on the default bar once you hit higher levels, so I ended up moving a bunch of them onto macros instead. That's just how I do things though. Also try and have abilities that do the same thing in the same place on your bar between stances. For example, Overpower and Revenge share a cooldown between battle and defensive stance, and Whirlwind is your extra DPS button for Zerker stance. I always have these all on the same button. Mocking Blow in battle stance and Disarm in defensive are another example. I also have all my 30-minute cooldowns on the same button, though this time they're macroed, where depending on your stance it will use the corresponding one. Same deal with Charge and Intercept, just have Intercept somewhere on your screen where you can see when it's coming off of cooldown. I do the same with Interrupts, they also share a cooldown, so put them on the same button. You should also have something to swap between your sword and board fast and putting on your two-hander, and you should always have a starter tank macro somewhere in one of your abilities.
What's up? Be good. Keep it real.
I got what you need.
Pleased to meet you. Alrighty then.